What is up, diehards? Wes Monell in the building for AWOL Sports. Drew Lacuesta in the house. Thanks for hanging out with us. This is a 2020 NFL season preview, our projections for every division, first through last with records. When we look at the schedule, if we give one team a win, we cross-reference that by giving the other team a loss. So we keep track here. That's how it should go, and that's how we roll. The NFC South, the Saints are back with a vengeance after three straight playoff appearances fell short. The Buccaneers move on from Jameis Winston's 30 for 30 on to future Hall of Famer Tom Brady. Atlanta finished last year strong and hopes some offensive changes pay off. Carolina is starting from scratch with a new staff and quarterback. Starting with New Orleans, they extend Alvin Kamara. They signed Emmanuel Sanders and Malcolm Jenkins, a familiar face there. They draft Cesar Ruiz to play center in the first round. This is the fifth-ranked O-line at the moment. Excellent offense, top-tier stats. They only turned the ball over 8 times. It's ridiculous. Michael Thomas went off for 1,600 yards. He and tight end Jared Cook, they both grabbed 9 touchdowns. Defensively, the Saints were elite on third downs and stopping the run. Cam Jordan just racked up his 5th season with double-digit sacks, and they have a very smart DB group. The Saints, I look at their schedule, they have a 3-game stretch against the Bucs, Niners, and Falcons. Then away weeks 12, 13, and 14. That's against Denver, Atlanta, and Philly. Followed by KC. So if the Saints are winning like I think they will, like you think they will, they're going to be battle-tested. I have them being one of the better teams yet again, 12-4, winning the division in the playoffs. You have them going 10-6.
10-6 also in the playoffs as a 6th seed. I mean, you can't not like this team. They're built with ballers everywhere, offensively, defensively, and I think they're just going to continue that streak. 3 years in the playoffs already, including this year is going to be 4. They were 13-3 last year. I have them at 10-6, just because I see some places where they can slip on their schedule, but most of it is not that tough. They have a lot of their tough games at home. So, I mean, I believe in their split here. I mean, Drew Brees is doing ridiculous things right now. Love what they're putting together on offense, taking Emmanuel Sanders. That's a savvy veteran who's you can just plug and play. He'll pick up the playbook real quick, and Sean Payton will definitely find opportunities for him to shine. I like all the pieces here. Drew Brees last year, number 3 highest all-time quarterback rating, right? Behind Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. 98 is his rating. Russ has 101. Rodgers has 102. The last 2 years, Brees' quarterback rating has been 116. Last year, Brees had a league-best completion percentage of 75%, the second-best quarterback rating last year. Crazy, insane year. Even after an injury on his throwing hand that sat him out for 5 games. He's amazing. He's overcome adversity so many times. I love Drew Brees. I love this offense that Sean Payton has built here in New Orleans. They're going to be multiple. They're going to be running. They're going to beat you over the top. Michael Thomas is the most ridiculous receiver I've seen in a long time. He can win any coverage, double coverage, and now they have a savvy veteran. Kamara's back. It just goes on. I can't see this team not making the playoffs. I think they're going to be strong. Obviously, they'll have a playoff push again. I feel for them, man. Some heartbreaking losses. First, in 2017, losing to the Vikings on that crazy missed tackle, Diggs catch for a touchdown. Then they lose to the Rams, arguably one of the most egregious missed calls. I will say, though, they did have a chance with another 4 minutes in that fourth quarter and overtime to take that game. That wasn't the last call of the game. But anyways, regardless, still a heartbreaking loss. And then again in Minnesota last year with a jump catch touchdown for 6'7" Kyle Rudolph. There's just nothing you could do about that in the red zone. I feel for Breeze, man. I want him to win another one. I think they have a great shot here this year. I'm rooting for them at 10-6 to be another contender, although it is second in this division to Tampa Bay. But you got to love New Orleans here. 4 out of the 6 tough games I have on this schedule that I pointed out to myself: Green Bay, Chargers, San Francisco, Kansas City. That's all in the dome. Whether they're having real crowds or pumping crowd noise, that's a tough place to play regardless. And then away, Chicago's a winnable game. Philly's winnable, but I do like Philly in that spot. I still got them at 10 wins, though.
Got it, man. Yeah, we're talking about a top 10 offense and top 10 defense from last year. And I think I might have misspoke. I think I said I had them winning the division. I actually do not. I had them tying at 12-4 with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but the tiebreaker,
Wow.
yeah, I had the tiebreaker though. You know what? Yeah. The tiebreaker I have going to the Bucks. I'm just doing a recount, a little Al Gore and George Bush. But yeah, speaking of the Buccaneers, that offense, scoring, pass offense, just man, they were on fire last year. Yeah, it came with some negatives. They were 13th in third downs. That can improve with the new additions: Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette, Rob Gronkowski. Simple as that. Those numbers can improve. Brady was top 10 in air yards last year. Does anybody know who he was targeting downfield in New England? I don't know, man. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, arguably the best wide receiver duo in all of football. Their O-line currently is ranked 7th in the league. They drafted Tristan Wirfs to play right tackle. They got him in the first round. Then you look at the defense. What did they do well? Stop the run and get off the field on third downs. They force turnovers. Look at the roster. Their front seven is stout, and they draft Antoine Winfield Jr. in the second round, adding him to the secondary. It's young, but they're feisty back there. Tampa Bay has a chance to pile up some wins weeks 2 through 8. That's the first half of the year. Weeks 1 and 9, the bookends of that, they play the Saints. So those are some barometer games for both teams coming in week 1 and then to start their second half of the season run in week 9. But in between time, Buccaneers, those all look like winnable games. If the Saints don't beat them, the Bucs could be cruising. And they have a bye in week 13 to head into the final month against some playoff hopefuls in the NFC. So they'll be battle tested come wintertime. And it'll show us what they're really made of. And, you know, I think that start is very favorable. So that'll come in handy when it comes to cold weather, playing outside, playoff seeds on the line, and the positioning. I have Tampa Bay as the first seed in the NFC, winner of the South. And as you mentioned, you agree, you have them with 11-5 record.
Yeah, a lot of things to like here about Tampa Bay. Obviously, elephant in the room, Tom Brady. He's here. They also didn't really lose any players of note from last season. But I mean, just think of what this offense could be with Tom Brady. You know, Tampa Bay was very potent as an offense last year. Third in scoring. They beat out Kansas City, New Orleans, and Dallas in scoring. They also led the league in 2-point conversions with 5. So situationally, if they need that push, they can make it happen too. That's kind of scary. Also, they were third in passing touchdowns and tied for 8th rushing touchdowns defensively. It wasn't entirely bad. They gave up a lot of passing yards overall, but they were 8th best in completion percentage allowed. 7th in yards per average, nothing really over the top. So a lot of dick and dunk under, kind of what we talked about bend and not break. So on the flip side, defending the run, they were number 1 in all these categories: yards allowed, yards per carry, big runs over 20 yards, first downs, and they were the 4th best against rushing touchdowns. So they're going to make it tough on you, man, especially now that the time of possession is going to be swaying a lot more towards the Bucs side with Tom Brady. It is a bit concerning that the Bucs allowed a lot of sacks last year. They were near the bottom for giving quarterback a pocket to throw. So time to throw stats from next gen, not that great, but like you mentioned, man, one of the better tackles that I like in this draft in the first round, Tristan, and they also signed one of the Colts starting offensive linemen. So they're doing their job, showing Brady what they're going to do to at least attempt to try and increase that pass protection. Brady doesn't turn the ball over, man. Last 10 years ranks fourth best in turnover differential. He's just surgical with it. Now he's got his best friend back, Gronk. And he recruited him for a reason. These two are obviously a dream team duo statistically, but on the other, he's a brain coach, man. On the field and in meeting rooms, his value comes with coaching chemistry to all the pass catches for Brady, timing, route running, ball placement, hot reads, motion, snap count, cadence. This is all why it's tough to play with the Tom Brady offense. He expects elite production and elite attention in the meeting rooms. Having Gronk there, just in case there's extra questions when Brady's not there, that's huge, man. Gronk's going to be coaching these pass catchers on and off the field. This is also going to play a major role in a limited offseason. So they might have a step above other teams that might not have had that camaraderie to come up to week one. But Brady, as much talk as we want to give about not a dynamic offense, not that great receivers, not that great separation outside of Julian Edelman, he still finished seventh in pass yards with New England. So the man can still get it done, man. Brady versus Breeze is what we're looking at. That starts week one, but Brady versus Breeze all time. He's 2-3, 12-4 against this division. Most recently, in 2017, he was 3-1, only losing to the Panthers. So, man, this schedule is more favorable. I like this schedule for him. New Orleans and Atlanta are going to be at the playoff hunt. I have Atlanta missing, but New Orleans definitely a strong playoff push. But taking a look at all their competition for teams, I believe that'll be having a playoff push. All but one of these games are home. Five of these games out of the six, Chargers, Green Bay, the Rams, Kansas City, Minnesota, they're all home. The only one they have to go away to is Chicago. So I really, really like everything put together for the season for the Bucks. They might start slow. I do have them losing week one just because it's in New Orleans. But the rest of the way looks pretty green to me, man.
Yes, sir. I have them losing week one to New Orleans. I had to change it because Mike Evans, his situation, or else
Right, right.
or else I'd be rolling with Tampa week one, to be honest with you. But I have them getting that L and getting revenge later on when they play in Tampa. Um, and that's just how I do predictions. Usually, if two teams in the same division are kind of have a history or they're close, I usually split them. And look, man, I love Bruce Arians. I like that he's fiery. I love Tom Brady. I like that he's fiery. I think it's going to work. And when this team gets in the red zone, I think they're unstoppable. We haven't seen it. I get it. On paper, this is what I'm calling. This might be the best red zone offense in the entire league. You have Evans, Godwin, Gronkowski, O.J. Howard, Cameron Brake has been utilized in the red zone. You have Leonard Fournette. Whatever they want to do with Rojo, cool. But you have Leonard Fournette in the backfield. So, man, and Brady, he QB sneaks, man. There's only four quarterbacks in the league when I think about quarterback sneak that I like, and Tom Brady is one of them. The others, Drew Brees actually is counterpart for this week. Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, and Carson Wentz. Those are the four best QB sneakers, if that's ever a category. Uh, and it's weird to say because two of them can move and two of them are statues, but they're just smart with it. They're strategic, cerebral. They get it done. I know you recall seeing the Drew Brees highlights diving over on a QB sneak just to get the ball over the goal line and all that. Uh, Brady's been doing it for years.
Yeah.
Uh, for every reason imaginable, every kind of play imaginable, I think the Bucks will be unstoppable inside that red zone. And yeah, man. Let's shift over to Atlanta, another team in the NFC South. They signed Todd Gurley. They bring him back to Georgia. And then, hey, they signed DN Dante Fowler. You talked about how big of a loss it was earlier. And then they trade for tight end Hayden Hurst to replace Austin Hooper. This offense, they were elite on third downs, elite in passing. It's easy to tell why. I think Matt Ryan is a back end of tier 1 quarterback, a top end of tier 2, around there. And Julio Jones, we know he's one of the best we've seen. Calvin Ridley coming into his own, probably going to take another leap this year. And they're just going to air the ball out. Todd Gurley, he's been a productive receiver as well. And I'm expecting a good year from Hayden Hurst. I think he can give us Austin Hooper-like numbers, to be honest. And you know what? Aside from passing, aside from third down offense, there wasn't much else this team was good at in 2019. The good thing they drafted a corner in the first round, A.J. Terrell. I keep circling back to this, though. I know I'm back to the offense because the defense it was rough last year. But Todd Gurley, if he has a productive year and he's durable, not only does he improve the third worst running offense, that would probably bump up the defensive numbers too. From the lower part, they were mostly mediocre. So a good run game, chewing some clock, wearing out the other team's defense, but you're keeping your defense fresh. That could help some of those around average numbers bump up possibly to the top half of the league, if not the top third. So there's an element right there that some other teams bank on, like the Seahawks, the Cowboys, the Titans, and the Ravens. So I know Atlanta is more prolific in the air, but that's where Todd Gurley can help day one. And then Atlanta, you look at their schedule. Look, they end the year with Tampa Bay, Kansas City, Tampa Bay. So that might be 3 L's. So if you're looking for an advantage or disadvantage in this case, when it comes to playoffs and the wild card spots, there you go. Don't expect Atlanta to end on a high note. Uh, I am kind of looking at the right side of that line. They drafted 2 first-rounders at right tackle and right guard. They kind of had a rough year, but they were rookies. And hey, maybe having a good running back helps them out a little bit. Remains to be seen. But I think we're mostly on the same page here. I have them at 8-8. You have them a game less at 7-9.
Yeah, I just think their schedule down the stretch is going to be pretty tough, especially with Tom Brady in this division and Drew Brees continues to shine in this division too. I mean, let's be real, man. Dan Quinn is coaching for his job. You know, his wins over the past few years, 8, and then 11, and then 10, and then 2 years at 7. So when they had Mike Smith, he was fired after 2 consecutive losing seasons. So if the Falcons don't finish, with wins this year, I think Quinn might be out of a job. There was talks about it during the season last year when they had such a rough start. So I don't know if they could withstand another year of losing. So maybe that'll light a fire. I just can't see it with the schedule and with how strong this division has gotten. I mean, they finished the season strong 2 years in a row. They just need a fast start, and they have the opportunity. They have the offense to do it. Matt Ryan's top 5 in pass yards. Quarterback rating dipped a little bit. Definitely struggled with the offensive line there. So I do see Ridley emerging. I think Ridley's one of the top receivers in this league. I think he's going to show that this year, especially with Sanu gone and Hooper gone. I do like the prospect of Hayden Hurst. People forget, man, that's a first-round talent. Austin Hooper had a great year, but Hayden Hurst, even with Mark Andrews in Baltimore, he showed some great bursts too, man. That's a strong, speedy kid. I'm sure he's ready to catch touchdown passes in the end zone because Matt Ryan definitely loves to throw to the tight end in the red zone. So offensively, I don't think it'll be that big of an issue. I think Todd Gurley is a great compliment. I still have reservations about what happened during our season with the Rams, why he was spending 40 to 60% of his time on that exercise bike. Maybe he's not 100%, but Gurley is that talent to where if you can get 70, 80, 90% out of him, he's still going to be a baller. I don't know if they're going to bell cow him, but at least in the red zone, at least a little bit in the pass game. And he's a great third down pass protector too. So that'll help out with these young fixtures on the offensive line. Matty Ice, man, done pretty good against this division outside of New Orleans. New Orleans, he's 2-4 the past few years, but against Tampa, he's 5-1. Against Carolina, he's 5-1. The only thing is, those are brand new teams now. I think Carolina is going to ruin some seasons this year. We'll talk about that more in the next few minutes. But I like what Carolina is doing a lot on that side. Uh, so tough schedule, man. We're going to finish it here with Seattle and Chicago for the Falcons to host. But they got 5 tough road games in Dallas, Green Bay, Minnesota, Chargers, and KC. And that's still facing New Orleans and Tampa Bay twice. It's going to be tough, man. I don't think they can, make that playoff push. I do like the players that they have on offense. I just don't think it's going to be enough.
Agreed. On to Carolina. They hired a new coaching staff, extended Christian McCaffrey, signed Teddy Bridgewater and Robbie Anderson, traded for tackle Russell Okung, just drafted first-round D-tackle Derek Brown, along with DN Yetur Gross-Matos in the second, a year after selecting Brian Burns in the first round, another DN. So they revamped that D-line. Look, I thought the Saints looked a little bit better with Teddy Bridgewater in the lineup than they did with Drew Brees last season. Now Bridgewater gets another chance to start. Aside from CMC, most of their team stats on both sides of the ball were around league average, some a little bit below. With college coaches making the jump in a short offseason, who really knows? Your guess is probably as good as mine. They'll feature CMC and DJ Moore. Anderson is the deep threat, and they got a middle-of-the-pack offensive line. I think they have some good games for a barometer, for a little check. They play the Raiders, the Cardinals, the Bears, and the Lions. So I think those are good barometer games to see where they at year one in this regime, and for Bridgewater too. It's a competitive division, though. I see 4-12. We just have the rundown over the other 3 teams. We like Atlanta's players, but think they're just going to miss the cut. We have the other 2, Tampa Bay and New Orleans, in the playoffs with a double-digit victories. I know we're on opposite sides of the fence here. I see the Panthers at 4-12. You have them double that at 9-7.
Yeah, just like you, man. I thought the Saints looked awesome with Teddy Bridgewater. I'm a huge Teddy Bridgewater fan. I think it's a great fit for him here. The trend is way, way, way up here for Carolina for me. Carolina's owner is David Tepper. He's a big-time Wall Street guy. And you don't get famous or you don't make money on Wall Street unless you take big swings. So he actually got the guy that he wanted. I heard talks out of Carolina was that when he brings in Matt Rule for an interview, he does not want to leave without a signed contract. So he interviewed Matt Rule first with the intention of signing him. He got his guy long term too. He's a Pittsburgh guy, so he wanted to do it just like the Steelers and their coaches, long regimes, build something from the ground up. He's actually a 5% minority owner for the Steelers as well. But this guy's trying to build something. And if you're going to build something, Matt Rule's your guy. They signed him for 7 years. Matt Rule is the program builder. He started it at Temple University. Temple University was an embarrassing program if you look at their schedule for years. It takes a couple years for a head coach and that new staff to kind of build through the draft, or in college at least, build through recruiting. Recruiting is everything in college, and that's going to help him through the draft in the next couple years as well. But he gets 2 wins, plus 2 wins his first year. Then they go 6-6, and then he finishes in Temple with 2 consecutive 10-win seasons, both with bowl game appearances. Then he goes on to Baylor. First year at Baylor was 1-11. Then he brings him to 7-6, and then his last year 11-3. Crazy turnarounds there. So Matt Rule, I like what he's doing with the program. The other great fit that I see here is Joe Brady. Joe Brady has experience with Sean Payton, most recently known for his work in college football with LSU, the national champs. They put together arguably the best offensive powerhouse in college football, one of the best we've ever seen. He took home the Broyles Award. That was the best college assistant, and that's the second time that he's won it, actually. So they bring in Phil Snow. Phil Snow has been with Matt Rule at UCLA, Temple, and Baylor. So, I mean, they got a good squad there, and they're all pretty familiar with each other. I like what they're doing. I love Teddy Bridgewater. They do have a tough schedule. A lot of their tough games are away, but man, I think I like what they're building here. 9 wins for me.
Wow, year one already, huh? Good gracious. Um, hey, I like that they have speed. CMC, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. I see a loss. I, Greg Olsen isn't there anymore. Tight end is a void. Offensive line has some things to work on. Teddy Bridgewater has things to work on. It's a new offense. It's not that Saints offense, but I like him. I'm with you. I do like the coaches. I think because it's a new level. They made the jump here, and hey, they could do worse than have a feature guy than Christian McCaffrey. So that'll help out any defense. That'll help out any passing game, any quarterback, and any new staff. So, I know he can't win these games by himself, but that's a hell of a guy to build around. Hence the contract extension that kind of like we discussed earlier off air that McCaffrey earned that deal. He had a big year, and he's getting paid for what he will do. Some of these other guys get paid for the pass. I'm just not a fan of that. Even
Exactly.
though, like I understand contracts that have a little bit of respect and appreciation in them, but hey, it's a business, and Melvin Gordon didn't get that deal with the Chargers. Le'Veon Bell moved on from the Steelers. They didn't get those deals. I thought Dalvin Cook was a little fortunate to get that deal, and Zeke sat out. He got his deal a couple years ago, and I don't think there's any question about CMC and the deal he got. I do think there's a little bit of question about Alvin Kamara and his deal. All topics for another day, but I just circle that back to Christian McCaffrey. He earned that, and it's for what he's about to do, not only for the past. I think you agree with that.
Definitely. 100%, man.
Nice. And I guess we can cut out on that note. This is the NFC South predictions. We'd like to hear who you think will be on top. It's probably one of the two, Tampa Bay or New Orleans. Who do you think wins the division? Do you think one of them misses the playoffs entirely? And, hey, are you on the Carolina bandwagon? Drew says 9 wins. I like them. I gave them half the amount of wins. We'd love to hear what you think on that end, too, of the spectrum. And, hey, thank you for listening to our season predictions.